Hi there, this is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. You're about to watch a video live stream event that we held in August of 2020 with key players in the online MBA space. But before it starts, I just wanted to let you know that we have an incredible resource of information and analysis on online MBA programs, from rankings to profiles of individual schools to how much they cost to whether they require GMATs or GREs, and a wealth of other information to help you make a really good and smart decision about which program to pursue. If you want to avail yourself of all those resources, go to poetsandquants.com. In the nav bar, you'll see a little tab for online MBAs. Go there, or you can go direct to online/MBA/hub backspace at poetsandquants.com. We're looking forward to seeing you. Enjoy the video.
Greetings and welcome to the last panel on the first day of Poets and Quants online MBA admissions webinar. And this is the last panel, but it's an exciting one because we have programs from all over the country. We have 3 that are based on the East Coast and then 1 on the West Coast, and they're varying in structures too. So really happy to have these 4 panelists here with us. I'm going to go ahead and do some intros, and then we can just jump right in to the questions. So first, we've got Terry Ignafo from the University of Southern California, Marshall School of Business. Welcome, Terry. We've got Jen Arthur from North Carolina State University. Welcome, Jen. We've got Angel Burgos from Florida International University. Welcome. And we've got Mary Teresa Taglang from Lehigh University. I think I got all those names right. We went over it ahead of time, so hopefully it did. So let's start easy. Let's start basic. Let's start with, why don't you all walk me through your structure to your online MBA program, maybe some history to it, when you all first went online. Are you asynchronous? Are you synchronous? What does that even mean? What percentage of it is asynchronous? What percentage of it is synchronous? Are there required meetings on campus? Just as much detail as you all want to go to into the real structure of the program. And USC Marshals is one of the newer programs. So we'll start with you, Terry.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nathan. Yeah, so USC faculty had done quite a bit of research prior to developing the online curriculum through various focus groups that involved prospective students, maybe some alum of the campus-based programs, employers, just to kind of assess what they're looking for in hiring new employees or promoting employees, and some other stakeholders, obviously, that were part of those focus groups. So that's where they came up with this very unique multidisciplined curriculum. And the first semester launch was fall of 2015 is when our first cohort had started. It is a cohort structured model. And the goal of the program was really to enable students to gain a mastery in all essential areas of business and business disciplines. So it won't concentrate in one particular area, but rather look at business holistically, but drilling it down into a very interdisciplinary fashion. And what I mean by that is really looking at these courses that are integrated, looking at multiple subjects that integrate with multiple subject areas, which then transition into working through projects and assignments, case studies, discussions to really bring the interaction and bring this, how these business strands really integrate with one another. So it's emulating more of how the day-to-day business world functions. Okay, so 9 times out of 10 in an industry, there could be an issue, let's say an accounting issue that's presented. It's likely not just an accounting issue, but it may lend itself to bringing up some questions about marketing or social media strategies. So the program really cuts across many different disciplinary areas. So the goal of that curriculum when it was developed back in 2015 was really to achieve the same type of objective, but in a classroom environment. Okay, so it's a 21-month program. It's 5 semesters long. Each semester is going to be 15 weeks at length, 51 units. It's really designed to cater to mid to seasoned working professionals that have shown success professionally, but are really looking at leveraging further career growth and identifying next steps. Most of the program will be online, with the exception of a 1-week residential intensive that does take place on campus the second week that new students start into the program. Builds a nice strong baseline of the curriculum moving forward, allows for that networking connection we understand is super crucial as you're starting your endeavors in an MBA program. There's a case competition, some networking events, mixer events as well. After that 1-week residential intensive, everything will then shift to being 100% online. Most of it asynchronous in nature, no set day or time that you need to be logged in. There's going to be clear learning outcomes and learning objectives outlined each week, which of course will have supporting readings, case studies, assignments, interactive exercises. Obviously want to be cognizant of when those deadlines are due. But the program's highly interactive as well. There are 2 live classes that meet virtually twice per week. We do utilize the Zoom platform. Those are typically in the evening from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific time. So you're essentially interfacing and engaging with the cohort faculty and staff for a minimum of 4 hours a week. One other component, I think it's important to note, it's a very applications-based curriculum, so it drives a lot on projects, which lends itself to a lot of group work. I would say within the semesters, just depending on the content, anywhere between 30 to 40% will consist of some sort of group work.
Great, thanks, Terry. And Jen, I think the program at NC State started around 2011. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, we started back in 2011, and we've definitely seen a lot of changes and growth since then. We currently have 2 intakes per year, so we're taking students in the fall and the spring. And our program is meant to be a very flexible format, so you can complete the program in 21 months, or you have up to 72 months to finish. So you're really doing it at your own pace throughout your time in the program. The average student is probably going to finish in 33 to 36 months, but you work with your academic advisor and plan out the course plan that's going to work best for you and your schedule. With our program, it's going to be primarily asynchronous, so you're going to be able to watch the recorded lectures and submit your work each week within the deadline that's been given to you. There are some synchronous components depending on the course and when in the semester, but there are also office hours. There are usually optional synchronous components if you want to participate in a class discussion as a group. That's usually something most professors will give you the option to do. You can complete the entire program online, but you do have the option of taking face-to-face courses if you live in the area or you're able to travel to the area. So we have evening classes that are an option, and then we have some Saturday classes that are an option. If you have 2 back-to-back Saturdays that you could dedicate to doing an in-person class, that is an option for you. But if you prefer to be all online, you can do that. The only time that you would really need to come face-to-face would be for our 2 residencies. So those are 2 3-day residencies that you would do during your time in the program. Typically 1 in your first semester and usually 1 sometime in your second year in the program. The program has 6 different areas of emphasis. So you would choose one of those in the program to give you your focus area. So we have those in biosciences, entrepreneurship, finance, marketing, innovation, and supply chain. So you would choose one of those, and then you would also do a practicum as part of the program where you're working with a company, essentially in a consulting type role with your classmates. So it's really collaborative. Even though it's not cohort based, you're going to be working in teams throughout your time in the program. So that's really a big part of the focus, but also just really maximizing that flexibility as much as possible for our students who might need it for their schedules.
Yeah, great, thank you. Okay, and Angel, one of the things that I like about the Florida International program is how flexible it seems, at least. 5 different intakes, I think. You'll have to correct me if that's wrong. 8 specialized tracks to pick from, and a bunch of different pacings that people can do. So tell us a little bit more, and correct any of that if that was wrong, but I think that's off the top of my head.
Nathan, that was correct on all fronts. So thank you,
Okay.
Thank you very much. At Florida International University, we started our program in 2010, and it was a traditional MBA program where students took 2 courses per 8-week semesters, and it has evolved significantly since then. As you discussed, we now have 5 intakes per year. We have 8 specialization areas, which we've developed in the last couple of years. And students have a lot more flexibility in terms of the pace of the program. So you can complete the program in 18 months or even up to 33 months. So students have the option of taking one course at a time or two courses at a time, or what we call the 2-1-2-1, where you can take two courses and then another course in a different semester. We try to balance it out. So the heavy duty quantitative courses you take usually in that one semester category. Our program is fully asynchronous. So students are remote and doing all of the work in teams and individually. Discussion boards, of course, are heavy use, as well as case studies. We use a lot of technology, mostly Zoom, HonorLock, and Canvas. And in addition to, we've just added a Zoom session, an optional Zoom session for every course that a student can participate in, that's live and interactive if that is convenient for them. It is certainly designed for the working professional. We have close to 500 students in our program. And this year, our largest intake has been, or is this fall, this August. We started with 150 students yesterday.
Wow, okay. And can you tell me any more about, was there a reason behind that increase and why you'll have the biggest class now?
Sure. I think it's a combination of what's going on in the world. And I think in many instances, students have decided that it's important to remain competitive. And this is a time, if you're working from home, where learning is attainable and doable. We have a number of other programs at FIU. We have about 9 specialized master's programs and 8 versions of our MBA program. And while our in-person programs are also quite healthy in terms of enrollment, I think students have really looked to online program more so than ever before because of being at home and because of the pandemic, if you will.
Yep, makes sense. And not to one-up you, but Lehigh's hybrid MBA is literally called the Flex MBA. Yeah. So I'm guessing it's pretty flexible. Mary Teresa, can you tell us about it?
It is. It's really flexible, as a matter of fact. And our program, actually, we're no strangers to distance education and providing education to first our corporate partners, and then through the online platform of Zoom. We started over 25 years ago with our satellite programming, and we were able to leverage that into our synchronous Flex MBA program. And this program enables students to come in at various times during the year. We have 4 different times that we can intake students and pursue the degree in as little as 2.5 years or as long as 6 if they need to do so. They can toggle between coming to campus and pursuing it 100% online, or they can do from week to week, month to month, or semester to semester, and decide what's best for them based on what's going on in their lives, what's going on with their work. And so it makes it very easy to pursue the degree. Not saying the degree is easy, because it's a really rigorous degree, but makes it very convenient for individuals who need to find some kind of balance between their work and their life. Our program is not cohort based, but what we find is that during our required orientation, individuals will end up forming groups and kind of self-cohort as they go through the core. And the core curriculum is an integrated core curriculum. So a total of 36 credit hours for the program, relatively short, but the core curriculum consists of 21 credit hours, and that is an integrated core. So much like Terry was saying, you know, there's so many ways that business functions don't exist in silos. So we integrate that curriculum across the core, and then throughout the core, there's a thread that results in the final course, which synthesizes everything that was learned in the core. There are several concentration areas. We have 7 different concentration areas, but we find that the most popular is no concentration. Just pursuing a general concentration. So that enables students to kind of get a touch and a feel for all the different areas. It makes it very, very broad for those individuals coming through the program. One of the things that always impresses me, because I've worked at several different universities, is the quality and the quality of the faculty, certainly, but also the ability of the faculty to really make connections with the students in the program. It's very, very personal. And the support that's received from the staff as well is extremely personal. So even though individuals may be pursuing this in an online environment, they feel like they're part of a community. And Lehigh has always been known for being, we've always called it the Lehigh family, and that doesn't change even though it is in a virtual environment. So transitioning right to, satellite to Zoom-based online education was a no-brainer. We already knew how to do it. It was really, really an easy thing for us to just migrate to.
Yeah, thank you. So, one of the big things that our readership really wants to know about is the type of students that you all are admitting into your programs. What stage are they in their careers or lives? What industries are they coming from? So can you all give me details about your class profiles, this year, and if that's changed any from previous years, and just kind of a breakdown of the type of students that you're admitting? And Jen, we'll start with you this time.
Sure. So for our program, we're seeing students from a variety of backgrounds, I would say. Traditionally, we've seen mostly students coming from an undergrad degree in business or engineering, but that started to change a little bit, especially when we added our RTP location, which is surrounded by some great research companies. So I think now we're seeing a lot more students coming from the sciences, but I would say it's absolutely a diverse group in terms of that and the work experience. The average is about 10 years for our students in the online program. We're seeing an average GPA of about a 3.2 coming into the program. There's a mix of students who may already have a graduate degree, some who don't. Several students who are first-gen college students coming into the program. We've got about 40% women in our online MBA program, and about 25% or so are underrepresented minorities. And I think, the students coming in, as far as where they are in their career, a lot of people are wanting to move up within the company where they already are. We certainly see some who want to be career changers, and our career management center can help people with that. But for the most part, I would say it's people who kind of like the company that they're with and they want to move up there. They're not sure how to do it. Maybe they lack the vocabulary. They want a seat at the table. They want to be able to solve some of the problems or challenges that they're seeing in their company. And so they're looking for an MBA to help with that. And then we also get some who are hoping to start their own company either soon or a little bit later down the line. And so they're coming in to study entrepreneurship specifically for that reason.
Great, thank you. And Angel, we'll move to you next. What are the class profiles looking like these days at Florida International?
Sure. Well, it's very similar to what Jen just described. We started out our program primarily with students who had an undergraduate degree in business and engineering, but that has slowly evolved. And it now represents the diversity of South Florida and the industries in South Florida. So we do have a number of people and students from the healthcare industry, from hospitality, supply chain technology. We even have a few lawyers in our program who are looking to make it into a different facet of their companies. Like Jen, we have a strong diversity. 48% of our students are female and 52% are male. We're particularly proud of that. Because we're in South Florida, of course, 55% of our students are Hispanic and close to 17% are African American. Another element of Florida International University, where we like to say international and diversity is in our middle name. The average age for this program is 33, with work experience ranging from 7 to 8 years and a GPA undergraduate of 3.2. And like Jen, we're seeing more majors or different majors than before. Some science majors, some sociology majors, communications majors as well. And I think that reflects the diversity of the industries that we have here in South Florida, but also the number, there's not one set industry down here. So they come from all walks of life.
Great, thank you. Mary Teresa, we'll move to you next. How about Lehigh?
Sure, thanks. Well, Lehigh has always been known as a very strong engineering school. So we've pretty consistently had almost 60% of backgrounds in engineering or sciences in our program. And that's for the past 20 years since I've been involved with Lehigh. So it remains that way, at least through last year. Now we're seeing a little bit of a change coming into this year with a younger and more diverse applicant. And I think it's reflected on some of the things that Angel was saying, that they're reevaluating what they want to do, and this is a perfect time to do it. Right now, our average age is 34, our average GPA is 3.39. We've not quite 9 years of work experience. Our GMAT is very strong, of course, given by the fact that we do have that strong science and technology engineering background. So that's a 629. And we attract a lot of individuals with prior master's degrees and terminal degrees. So it's not unusual to run into many PhDs, MDs, JDs who come into the program who want to leverage what they have in perhaps another way, to be able to understand holistically how business works. So, we have a lot of relationships with organizations. The Lehigh Valley was a heavily industrialized area for quite a long time. Because we are now not limited to the Lehigh Valley, we certainly see a lot of pharmaceuticals, individuals from those companies who are coming into the program. So, so we have the diversity of backgrounds. You all sound a little bit better than we do in terms of women in the program. We'd like to see more women in the program, but that's been growing, which is a real plus. So, so that's pretty much how it looks.
Great, thank you, Mary Teresa.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry, how about USC? How is the class looking now, and how does that compare to 2015, whenever you all first launched?
Sure. So the program, because it's a holistic MBA, it obviously attracts a variety of different backgrounds. So certainly diversity in terms of academic and professional background. The top 5 industries currently were technology, engineering, entertainment, media, finance, and banking. And recently, just over the past year or two, healthcare and biotech has kind of creeped up in being one of in the top 5 industries represented. But again, diverse backgrounds. We have some MDs, lawyers in the program, consultants, marketing, entrepreneurs, quite a few as well. So definitely a diverse background there. Years of work experience on average is 10 years. Full-time professional relevant work experience. Again, we have some that are in that 3 to 8 year range, some that have well over 15 years of experience, but kind of talking averages would be 10 years. Average age is currently 35. Undergrad GPA average is 3.25. Cumulative GMAT's currently at a 630, and the GRE is currently at a 314. So those are some of the averages there. Most of our students are from the Southern California area, but we do also have some strong representation on the East Coast as well as the Midwest. So we are also geographically dispersed as well. So those, that's some of the averages. Women, the last statistic, I had to grab that to pull that out, 34% and that obviously could have changed. All of these averages did not include the fall term that actually had just started this week. So there could be some modifications to that, over the next couple of weeks. So this is just data from all the way through our spring of 2020 term.
Okay, great, thank you. And heads up, Angel, this next question is coming at you first. So just to prepare. So beyond the numbers, whenever you all are looking at candidates and thinking about the culture that you're trying to build in your program, what are some things that you're looking for fit? And this goes beyond, the numbers and into the actual person. And then how do you all evaluate that fit?
It's a great question. We take a holistic approach to admissions, I'm sure, like my colleagues here as well. So we try to look at the entire, your entire history as a candidate, your professional experience. We do place a heavy emphasis on the type of work or the quality of the work experience. So we're looking for people who are either on the management track or in a management position within their company or within their field. Oftentimes we do have an interview if a student for some reason they're debating between different types of programs. We like to meet with them and have a discussion about what their goals are, where they see themselves, and we want to make sure that it's a good fit from an environmental perspective. Online education is really it's a really disciplinary, and oftentimes people think it's easier, and it's really a lot harder, and it takes somebody who is driven, who knows how to manage their time, and who can sort of balance all of that. So we do that through the admissions process, through the interview stage, and also through the essays, but also through the work experience and the recommendation letters.
Great, thanks. Mary Teresa, what about at Lehigh? What sort of culture are you all trying to build there? And then how is that evaluated and how does that manifest in the actual admissions process?
We've been so fortunate over the past years to have admitted very, very strong students who are also very, very good people. And that creates a culture in and of itself. So when we look at those kinds of students or those kinds of applicants to the program, we want to see who's motivated. Well, what does motivated mean? Do they follow directions? Do they submit everything on time? Do they have a lot of interaction with us? Do they ask us about individuals in the program who they can talk to? We want to know what their level of interest is so that we can determine how they're going to be as alumni. And one of the best things that happens with our students as they graduate is that they are absolutely the first to say, how can I help you? Who do you want me to talk to? Who do you want me to work with as a prospective student? So naturally, while we look for many of the same things that my colleagues here have mentioned, career progression, what are their recommenders saying about them? Have their recommenders identified them as individuals who have high potential? Have they been given increased responsibility? Maybe even if they have not yet been promoted. If they can talk about that, that's a real big plus as well. And are they just engaged and involved throughout the whole process? Are they clear on what they want to do? Or are they fuzzy about not knowing? So those who have a pretty good idea of where they want to head, how they want to get there, are those individuals who are going to be more successful.
Great, thanks. And Terry, we'll move to you next. How about USC? What does it look like there?
Yeah, for sure. So USC, definitely a holistic approach when looking, evaluating, making those admissions decisions, obviously demonstrating both academic and professional success in terms of demonstrating the readiness to be ready for graduate level coursework and making sure they have the aptitude needed to be successful in the program. I mean, this is a pretty intense, rigorous program to get completed in 21 months. So that definitely is taken into account. But not only that, it's are the learning outcomes in alignment with what the applicant's looking at doing long term. It needs to be a mutual fit there. You know, somebody could have shown academic success, but if it's just not a good fit, you know, that's definitely a key component that is looked at with those decisions. So what value add does the applicant have to the cohort and to the network itself? So, and a lot of that is demonstrated, I think, you know, with our admissions essays. The first one asks about your short-term and long-term goals and how, you know, they feel that USC's program can help them fulfill those goals. And the second one, I think, is really telling to just diversity and collaboration, which is kind of one of the kind of key components of the program, is to maintain this high level of interaction and collaboration. So it asks about diverse experiences coming to the program and what they're looking at, you know, gaining or learning from the cohort in general. So, you know, definitely for being an online program, we do pride ourselves in that interaction. And like I had mentioned at the top of the hour, it's a very project-based program too. So, you know, enabling and being able to, you know, work amongst teams is definitely going to be crucial in the program too. And you know, just like Mary Teresa, I mean, we've been great candidates coming in, and we've got a solid, you know, retention, graduation rates, and obviously, you know, have a strong reputation in terms of the Alumni Association. So we're looking forward to continuing to build that diversity and just strong caliber of a student. One other thing too, the program is pretty quantitative in nature. So showing some, you know, type of quantitative analytic skill sets, whether that be from an academic standpoint or what they've done professionally, is definitely you know, competitive due to the nature of the curriculum.
Great, thanks. And then Jen, how about at NC State?
Yeah, I really have to agree with my colleagues on everything that they said. For us at NC State, it's absolutely a holistic process as well. And, you know, looking at the academics and the quality of the professional work experience that the candidate has is, I think, a given, and we definitely consider all of that. But, you know, there has to be a little bit more beyond that. And it's really so important to assess the fit in terms of what the candidate is looking for. You know, what are your goals? What's your story? What is it you want to do? What are you hoping to get out of this program? And is that something that we can help you with? We want to make sure that that you're going to be satisfied coming out of the program, and that anybody coming in is able to really contribute to the class discussion, to really lift their classmates up, because as important as it is to learn from your professors, what you're learning from your classmates is equally important. So there has to be that collaboration, there has to be that value add from that perspective. And I think it's really important for candidates to have that curiosity and that drive, that interest in really pushing themselves. And, you know, in our program, we talk a lot about people just kind of rolling up their sleeves. And, you know, one of NC State's big things that we talk about is think and do. And so we push that into the MBA program as well. It's important to jump in, to get the job done, to work together as a team. So we're really looking for those kinds of qualities in any candidate that we consider.
Great, thank you. And so this next question, Mary, it's your turn to go first. So you'll be taking the first swing at it. So with the age group and the career level that a lot of people are who are considering the online MBA versus the traditional residential full-time MBA, generally they have a lot more to juggle. They're further along in their careers, they have more family, they might be having kids. So in terms of work-life school balance, what are some of the conversations you have with applicants, and how do you advise them on taking the plunge into the online MBA in terms of life stage and just trying to balance all those things that they have going on?
It's such a good question, because we do this on a daily basis with our prospective students and our applicants. And we're really fortunate within the office itself, because many of us have sat in those shoes. We have pursued our own master's degrees as we were raising families, or you know, while we were working. So we understand what they're going through and what kinds of choices they have to make. And so we take a lot of time with them to ask them where they are with their roles in their companies. What is it they're hoping to achieve? How long do they want to take? And the fact is that the program is flexible enough that if someone is getting married in the spring, they can sit out that entire semester without a penalty. And it enables them to step right back into the program and not miss a beat. The program advisor for the Flex MBA is absolutely fantastic as well. And she will really work to have been admitted to learn what it is that they want, how do they want to structure their program, because they're able to do that themselves, but we can give them that guidance that they need so that they have, they're able to accomplish it without feeling so overwhelmed. We know how many hours outside the classroom they need to devote to certain coursework. We know, don't take these two classes together or mix these two together and it's fine, but we really help them understand what that commitment needs to be. And if they think there might be an issue, then they can bring that up early on once they're admitted. But of course, we have those same conversations with prospective students as well. What's going on in your life and why now and what do you anticipate? So let's make sure that you have a complete understanding of the time frame, the commitment that it's going to take for you to get through the program.
Great. Yeah, thank you. And Terry, how about at USC? How are you all advising applicants with this question and concern?
Sure. Yeah, and common question, obviously. So, the key is setting the expectation up front in the beginning of these conversations. It's not a check the box MBA. You work hard for it, but it works hard for you. And it is an intense, rigorous program, 20, 30 hours per week. Estimate is what the students are spending on coursework all in. So I think setting that expectation, the time commitment in terms of what's needed, I think it looks a little different for every student. Some people, they get into the program, they get in a cadence where maybe they're heavy on the weekends in terms of preparing for those live classes each week or, meeting with their project teams. Some take the weekends off and just do it all during the week. So, I think each individual has kind of a unique structure in terms of works for them. I think it's key to, we, obviously stress and emphasize the importance of keeping lines of communication open, and utilization of resources is key. So if you're overwhelmed first couple weeks, it's natural. Those are usually, the most intense, just kind of trying to get your cadence scheduled. So, it's reaching out to faculty. They're more than readily available to help with those tips and tricks. Our current students are very much involved in the onboarding or the welcoming of the new students. So, just being able to have access to those, the network and people, not only just in the cohort, but are enrolled in the program who have gone through the curriculum or the majority of the way through that, just to, again, provide some kind of tips in terms of works for them. So it's definitely a sense of community. So, expectation, it's going to be tough. It's obviously doable. And let's talk it through, whether that be with current student, an alum, faculty, the student advising team, with one another, to help solutionize that. Obviously, student success is number one. So.
Great, thanks. And Jen, how about you?
Well, we definitely recommend that students take it easy in the first semester and not overdo it, which we can do with the flexible format program. All of our students have access to our academic advisors. We've got a great advising team, and each student is assigned to one academic advisor who really helps walk you through in planning out what your course sequence should look like. So in the first semester, we just don't want people to get overwhelmed. So we say, take it easy, do what your academic advisor is suggesting to you. And I think that helps quite a bit. We have students who have a lot on their plate in terms of their work schedule, their personal lives. And so it's important, I think, for candidates to really make sure that they talk with the key players in their lives. So family members, their boss, their teammates at work, anybody who has a big role to play in making sure that there's support and understanding there when starting an MBA program or any kind of graduate study. So I think that can help And then, you know, just recognizing that it's not going to go on forever. I mean, we've definitely heard this from a lot of students in the program. You're not going to be in the program forever. There might be a time when you cut a couple of things or cut back a little bit on some things, just so that you can make time for the things that you really need to. So we try to encourage people in that way too, and let them speak with other students in the program who can give them those kind of pointers.
Great. Yes. Angel, how about you?
I don't know what I can add to all of that. They're right on target. It's absolutely the same for us. It's setting those expectations early on for the student, having really frank conversations with them at the recruitment stage. Our recruiters are excellent at discussing the program options and really having a heart-to-heart about, is this the right time for you? Do you have the family support? Do you have the systems in place to help you get through it? And then once you arrive, we have a student experience team that is also dedicated to student success. We have found in the last couple of years that when we developed the tracks that I talked about earlier, that really helped a lot. So now students can take one course at a time, or two courses at a time, or two in one. And that really opened up a lot of the possibilities for students. When you say to them it's 20 to 25 hours a week, it becomes a little daunting. So the fact that you can do one course at a time really does help.
Yeah, okay, great. And then, so this next question I think is, it's not as much of a concern now just because of our current living situation and work situation. I think people have gotten a little bit more used to virtual and Zoom and stuff like that. But in terms of fostering connections and building the network among students and alumni, what are some ways in which you have really built that into your program where students will be able to come in and make meaningful connections and build their network within the program? And Terry, we'll start with you.
Great. Yeah, there's a lot of levers in place to kind of enhance that cohesion and the networking. So, of course, the residential intensive, that 1 week on campus, obviously starts that initiating of you know, kind of those relationship building, not only with the cohort but the alumni. Current students are actively involved in that immersion and that 1 week residential intensive. After that, the live classes. I mean, you're interfacing, having discussions, conversations, a minimum of 4 hours a week through live classes, which we call Marshall Talk. The group work involved, the project teams could be anywhere between 5 to 7 people, depending on the semesters. Obviously, allows you to drill down, get to know, you know, other individuals a little bit more specifically. Once our students start the program, you're pretty much immediately part of and get access to the networking tools and are part of Marshall Alumni Association. So you're not waiting until you're done with the program or halfway through the program. So you're immediately getting exposed to those resources and obviously being welcomed by the community and using those resources. We encourage any student, whether they live in the area or if they're across the country, get involved. Sign up for clubs and organizations. You might not be able to go to every campus event or whatnot or networking event, but it's super crucial to stay involved and utilize you know, those networking tools. And the same resources that are available primarily for the campus students are available for the online students, with the exception of the health center. And then there's a little bit of a difference between the career services support. It's a bit more hands-on on the full-time campus program, where the online curriculum, it comes in the form of more career coaching because our program is primarily mid to seasoned working professionals. So yeah, our slogan is Trojans Help Trojan. It's lifelong, and we're close to 90K nationally and globally Marshall alums, so definitely no shortage of industry representation, academic, geographic. So those are a couple things that we have in place to obviously promote and initiate that, that cohesion.
Great, thank you. And Jen, at North Carolina State, how are you all making sure that the online MBAs get access to alumni, but also are able to build deep connections and a network within their own cohort?
Well, similar to USC, we do have the in-person component that all of the students in our online program do. So that's the 2 residencies, the 2 3-day residencies. And that's something that's required for both our online and our evening students. So when you go to that, as an online student, you're going to also be meeting students in the evening program and vice versa. So that really helps to expand your network a bit more that way. So that I think is a really key piece in all of this. But our students do have access to our alumni network right away as well. And working with our career management center, you're going to have access to that lifelong as well as to the resources in our career management center. So I think that helps with keeping people in touch. We also have Facebook and LinkedIn groups. There are clubs that students can be involved in if they have the time and would like to do so. So I think those are really some of the major things. And then, of course, when you're in the online classroom, really just taking advantage of getting to know the students in your class and keeping in touch with those teams throughout your time in the program and beyond, I think is a really good way to maintain those connections.
Great. And Angel, how about at Florida International? What are you all doing to foster those networks and connections?
All of the above, all of the above, all of the above. So my colleagues did such a great job. We try to encourage our online students to participate in a number of on-campus events, whether it's lectures, industry nights, professional development seminars that we offer related to soft skills development. And we also have now decided, or we've started recording many of these talks, which we didn't always do, and therefore students have access to watch something like this, for example, at a later time and connect with our alumni. We're very strong in terms of the South Florida region. You can't go to any organization here and not find an FIU graduate. And we have a mentorship program. We have advisory boards, advisory councils, and we try to invite our students into the fray from the very beginning. So we've created also a student advisory council that works with the alumni board on particular activities or networking events that would appeal to both.
Great. And then Mary Teresa, how about at Lehigh?
Well, can I do what Angel just did and say?
Of course.
Of all the above. So of course we do all of those things, you know, with the flexibility of our program and many students who toggle between coming to campus and pursuing online. They're already in that mode of taking advantage to events that are on campus, whether they be industry events, alumni events, professional development. But we do broadcast our professional development or Flex in a virtual environment as well. So there's those opportunities to not only partake in that kind of a scenario, but also build some relationships with maybe different people that they don't know. And those students can intermingle with other graduate business students as well, because those are open to all of the graduate business programs. In terms of them being in the classroom itself, because we use Zoom like everyone else, they are afforded their own Zoom breakout room that they can use at any time at all. So they can get into that session that they create on their own and use it for whatever purpose they want to use it. So that makes it just one more way that they can really get to know one another and become good friends and become a better network that they have. And there was, there's certainly regional alumni groups that individuals can take advantage of. Lehigh has a wide group of alumni, whether it's at the graduate level or at the undergraduate level. And all of those affinity groups are out there for our students to take advantage of if they would like to do so. And, you know, one other thing that we do, and I think probably everybody else does this too, is that when we identify individuals who are in a specific region, like you, Terry, you said you've got a nice East Coast contingent. We have a nice West Coast contingent. So it's interesting, but we'll connect all those individuals who may not realize that they're maybe 10 miles apart and give them opportunities to meet in person and get to know one another and build that network on the ground in those regions.
Great, thank you. And we'll flip this now in the order. So maybe Jen and Terry will be saying the everything above. So Mary, we'll start with you on this one. You know, I think as the online space gets even more legitimized and more programs start to pop up, employers really start to pay attention to these degrees more and more. And you know, it's no longer a degree where people do it for promotions in their company or to stay in the same place. People are looking to jump companies or jump industries even. So for applicants that want to use this online MBA to maybe change industries or change companies, what are some resources that you all have within the career management department to foster those sorts of aspirations?
Sure, that's a good question, because as part-time programs, most of us see individuals who are maintaining a career track to perhaps stay with their own company or stay with their own industry and maybe a different company. But we do offer everything that's available to an on-campus student to an online student. We have our own director of career services in the graduate programs office. We hold our own events, but there are also other events at the university level that anyone can take advantage of to build out that network and look for other opportunities as they may become available. You know, we've been very fortunate because of the length of time that we've been doing and delivering education in this way. We have a lot of credibility behind us. So so I don't think our students find that that's a big challenge for them. Our degree does not say online MBA. When they get their MBA, it says MBA from Lehigh. It doesn't distinguish whether or not it was pursued on campus or hybrid or completely online. So I think it is a good opportunity for students to take advantage of things that are that are available through our career services, both graduate programs and university level. And I think what we'll see is that more students who are looking to shift in their careers or their paths will perhaps be taking advantage of those opportunities coming up.
Great, thanks. And Angel, we'll move on. We'll move to you next.
Very similar as well. I can't say all of the above again. But our graduate students have access to career counselors that are dedicated just to the graduate school and our business students. About 75% of our students are either supported by their organization or on track to be promoted within their organization. So we have a good chunk, which is 25% or so, who want to do something else. And they tend to utilize the career services and career management office just a little bit more. We have a number of resources within the university. We have a lot of small businesses in this area. So we have a small business development center. We have part of the university that's called Startup FIU, which helps you with new ventures and new business ideas. So we try to push students not only to the career management office, but also to the other resources that we have here at FIU.
Great. Okay, Jen, you're up.
I'll say it, all of the above. So yes, we definitely are more likely to see people who want to make a complete career change in the full-time program, but of course that's not always possible. And so we do provide resources for those who are working professionals and want to change industries or careers. So we do have a team that's dedicated specifically to our working professionals who do one-on-one career coaching, who will help with, whatever is needed, whether that's interview practice or help with resume reformatting, networking, making those connections. And if you do want to be seeking while in the program, then our Career Management Center can make that happen and connect students who are job seeking with employers who are coming to recruit our students. So all of those options are there. And I think, it's really a matter of dedicating yourself as a student, because you're trying to balance work and school and potentially a career change. So again, going back to the flexibility and taking it at the pace that you need to, so that if you need more time to dedicate to the career search, you know, you can do that in working with our career management center. So I think that can help move the process along.
Great. Okay, Terry, last one. Here we go.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it's important to make note. I know Mary Teresa had mentioned our USC faculty, or the program was all developed in-house by USC faculty. Same faculty that teach on campus also do teach online. No need to differentiate between modality of instruction. You're still getting that same high quality, top-ranked education, whether you're going through a residential type setting as you are in online settings. So, you know, with that said, a lot like Jen, a lot of our students are pretty well established and looking for that MBA to further advance within current industry, getting into that C-level position, a managerial leadership type capacity, but not all. You know, we do have some that come in with intent. I'm pleased where I am, but I know 5, 6 years from now, I want to be competitive, you know, might want to do a transition change. So that support is there. We have 2 dedicated career coaches that work specifically with our online community, our online MBA students. Very robust services, anywhere from helping with resume building, LinkedIn profile reviews, interviewing prep, a career 360, excuse me, type platform, and also too access to their network. And another resource through the network itself is just access to MBA job postings or job boards through the MBA Exchange, and networking. Again, they have access to almost 90K nationally, globally. So we really thrive on the community of the network. So I usually tell, you know, prospective students, you know, this is as much as you're going to put into it as what you're going to get out of it. The resources are in front of you. You know, you just got to grab them, utilize them. And, you know, of course, faculty too, they're there for any one-on-one coaching, feedback sessions and things like that, if they kind of need to bounce ideas off of any of the faculty members as well.
Great, thank you so much. And so we're at 3:56 right now Pacific. So that means we've got about 4 minutes left, and we need to leave that time to transition to breakout rooms. So that's gonna be the final question from me. Hopefully you all get some good questions from people going into the breakout rooms. But Terry, Jen, Angel, Mary Teresa, thank you so much for your time. We're grateful that you took the time to speak with us, answer our questions. So thank you very much. For the panelists and people who are going to watch this later, we've got 4 more panels tomorrow with 4 more schools each. And so it'll be another exciting day. And thank you very much for joining. And thanks to all of our panelists. Have a good rest of your evening.
Bye. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.